Welcome to Glamourview.
Glamourview Farm consists of partners Gene Yeager, Craig Walton, and Emily Thornburg. Craig and Emily met in 2003 and were engaged in 2007. They share a love and passion for registered show cows.
Originally, I'm from Winchester, Indiana. Grew up with Ayrshires, mainly Ayrshires, and then when I got into 4-H, my dad wanted us girls to kind of dabble in other breeds so we wouldn't compete against each other, so then I really enjoyed the Jerseys. Went to college, came back home, worked for actually the Jersey Cattle Club for about 5.5 years in the Journal, designing ads, and we showed state level, national level, international level.
I grew up on a family farm with Holsteins in Pennsylvania. After I didn't go to college, after high school, I worked for people at shows and whatnot, and that's actually how I met Gene. I working at shows, and I started helping him in 1999 at shows. We ended up at a rented farm out in Cincinnati, Ohio. We were there for almost 3.5 years. We just wanted to come back to this area. Gene wanted us back in this area so he could see the cows. So we looked at places and just couldn't find anything just right. And then he ended up buying this farm and building this facility. Working here all the time is Emily, myself, and her parents, and Briggs, so we have to keep an eye on him too.
Franklin Builders is a company that's been in business for 27 years. They specialize in ag construction and especially dairy. It's whatever the customer wants. If he wants a turnkey project, we do that. If he only wants us to build the building, we would do that as well. We specialize in dairy mostly, which ranges anything from a heifer barn to a robot facility, milking parlors, anything in between that has to do with dairy. For the most part, for ourselves, we do the construction, concrete work, and installation of gates and stalls and mattresses, mostly our part. We try to be fair, and we want a happy customer in the end. So we try to get a second mile in the work that we do.
At Glamourview, they had a dream to build a brand new state-of-the-art facility on a bare piece of land and bring several people together to run the operation. At Glamourview, it's kind of a unique situation where they're still driven by the same thing that most dairymen are in terms of making milk, having good components, having good herd health, but they also have a side, and that is that they have many show cows that they have there as well. So their barn and their facility is set up with 3 robots, and then they run the show cows through the one single robot several times a day, but they house the animals under one roof even though they're fed and maintained and cared for differently.
Glamourview Farm rents 150 acres for additional cropland. They also rent 40 acres of pasture where they keep their dry cows. The farm is currently milking 180 cows. They plan to be milking 200 cows by the end of the year. The goal at Glamourview Farm is to manage cows effectively while running the farm as efficiently as possible. They've adapted the most modern technology available, and this helps them minimize labor while providing excellent cow care and comfort.
Even though we are a modern, technology-driven dairy, we do like to keep things simple. The TMR just consists of 8 pounds of hay, 65 pounds of corn silage, and about 10 pounds of triticale, and has about 9 pounds of concentrate, and the rest, they get the rest of their grain through the robot based on production. To go along with the TMR they're fed, the cows, while they're being milked in the robot, are fed a pellet, and that helps entice them to keep coming into the robot as well. This year we have 80 acres of soybeans and 150 acres of corn, and we'll probably chop about 120 of that to feed the cows, and the rest of the corn along with the beans We're in the process of putting up a couple bins to be able to grind our own feed to feed them as well. We currently use Cargill to feed our cows. They have a lot of experience with robotic systems.
Flexibility that we have in the team-driven approach would probably be the #1 advantage. For example, down at Glamour View Farms, they're familiar with several people besides myself. I'll have a coworker or two stop in there from time to time to take samples, walk the cows, evaluate manure, look at the TMR. They are very familiar with our calf specialist. We have a robotic specialist other than myself that comes in from time to time and evaluates numbers where we're doing well in and where there's room for improvement. So the whole team-driven approach from forage quality to calf to robots kind of has a wide variety of choices to help different dairymen out. It's not just me on their farm. A lot of dairymen just care about making milk and they want to make money. That's the main focus on most farms. But for herds like Glamour View and others that are driven by fairs and shows, we have a different way to feed those animals too. And we have a complete ration balancing system set forth for show animals. So we have different technologies driven toward different types of dairymen that we try to set uniquely for whatever the objectives are on that herd.
Knowledge, service, and experience. Feed your dairy dreams with Cargill.
So we have 4 sections in our barn. We have a section for our better cows that we like to show. We have a section for older Holsteins, a section for Jerseys, and a section for our 2-year-old Holsteins. The show cows are pretty simple, just scrape alley comes through it, so you don't have very far to throw the manure to clean the pack area. It was built so if we ever wanted to put a 4th robot in, it's basically ready to throw the free stalls in. It's built, ready to go. The old cow section, this has water beds along with green free stalls, which are very nice and flexible, and the cows very rarely have any trouble getting up, and if they do get stuck, they can turn sideways and the bars push right out of the way. We bed them once a week with shavings. The barn has sprinklers along with 12 macro air fans. They're climate controlled fans. They're very quiet. You're here in the barn and you very rarely even know they're running. The old cows, their free stalls are 51 inches wide. The 2-year-old Holsteins are 48 inches wide and the Jerseys are 46. Here in the middle of the barn we have our calf robots, so it's nice. We're always walking through here in the barn, so it's nice to keep an eye on the calves, and you can see pretty quickly if one is not feeling well. And then at each robot, right outside the exit for the robot, there's a pen where we keep the fresh cows for 2 to 3 days, or if a cow's not feeling well, keep her in there, just keep an eye on her as well. That's the only section of the barn that has headlocks to catch them with. Each robot has a foot bath area in the return alley, so it's nice to be able to change foot baths and keep up on that. The way our robot system is set up, the cows go into that little area underneath those one-way gates, and once they're in that commitment area, the only way out is to go through the robot and get milked. And after they are milked, they come in the return alley. There's a poured section for the foot bath, and when we run the foot bath, they have to walk through it. There's no getting around it. Another nice thing about the barn is it has back scratchers for the cows, and they love them. There's one in each section of the barn. Keeps the long hair off their tops and just keeps them shiny looking. And then at each end of the barn, for each section of cows, there's a box stall area along with some free stalls that when we feel that the cows are about 2 weeks away from calving, we go to the other farm and bring them back here and keep an eye on them very nicely here in the barn. And when they are ready to calve, we put them in the little box stall area so they can have a nice place to have their calf.
Fisher & Thompson began back in 1983 in a one-car garage. Today we have over 100 employees. It really comes down to a lot of how many cows are we going to milk today and 5 years from now, for example, because most of us don't stay the same. So we have to put that in the process. We have to always think today and 5 years from now to what that involves. Because we can go in any direction, whether it's a robotic farm or even a conventional farm comes into play with that also. Fisher & Thompson has a wide range of stuff. Of course, we deal with anything from the bucket system to the robots. So we have a wide variety. We like to get out and take customers to see many facilities so that they can see all the different remodels, the new setups, just a wide variety of stuff to see out there, which is very good for customers that are, you know, getting to the point where they want to do something, that they can grab something from somebody that want to pursue it a little further. I think that's a big advantage for a customer to go see that, and we have a lot of them to go see, and fortunately there are a lot of them right close by.
Contact Fisher & Thompson for all your dairy needs, including facilities, equipment, maintenance, refrigeration, repairs, and dairy health products. Glamourview Farm is utilizing the most modern technology available to the dairy industry today. The dairy features 3 milking robots, 2 calf robots, a fully automated ventilation system, automated alley scrapers, solar energy conversion, a rainwater collection system, and all of the latest cow comfort features.
For about 6 to 8 months, when we knew we were going to do this ventureship and we weren't going to rent, when we knew we were going to start fresh, to keep the labor down and to maintain where just 3 or 4 people could maintain a 200 cow dairy. That's when he decided to go with the robot, and he went to so many farms, and his main choice was, I mean, from what the consensus from all those other people that had robots, Lely was the way to go.
Can milk good cows in robotic milkers. The cows are milked the exact same way every time they are milked. The same exact process. There's not 3 or 4 different people doing it different ways. Fresh 2-year-olds, the first milking, maybe they step. After that, there is not a 2-year-old that kicks. You know, they're calm. They're nice, calm cows to work with.
We have some very, very nice systems to go see. Glamourview being one of them is just a very high-level farm, a beautiful, beautiful facility that when you go there, you kind of like to live there too. When you go in and see the cow and their environment, you know, as a guy that works on all these other systems and whatever, and when you go into a robotic facility, everything seems so calm and quiet. And you just think, boy, what a life for a cow or calf. You know, for us, that when we go to the farm, they don't really know us, and yet they're not running away from us. They're there. You can walk between them, and they're just there. I think that says a lot about the stress level of the cows and what direction that goes to. And that just, to me, means more years in this farm. And I just think that's a neat concept with that stuff, and how that the life of the cow.
The completely automated ventilation system is called the Vent Genie. All of the controls for ventilating the barn are in one place.
alley scrapers in the barn. We actually have chain instead of cable that runs them. Very happy with them. When a cow is down in the alley and it touches her, it automatically shuts off. It no longer keeps pushing them down the alley like I guess they used to. But then if a cow's standing there and don't move in time and it touches her, it'll back up and it'll try 3 times. And then if she still hasn't moved by that 3rd time, then it does shut down and we have to restart it.
Solar on a farm just makes sense. It's clean, quiet, and renewable. You've been using the sun to grow your crops. Why not use the sun to make electricity, saving you thousands of dollars? How does solar work? Well, the sun shines on the panel, goes to an inverter, is then utilized by anything at the farm that's calling for electricity. If you're making more solar than what you're actually using at a given moment, it goes back out to the grid, but it is credited to your account for when the sun isn't shining. All you need to do is contact us and we can take it from there. We can tell you exactly what it will do for you, how much it will cost, what your return on investment will be, how long it will take, and we'll also file for all the incentives, including the USDA grant work. Go to our website at paradiseenergysolutions.com.
Glamorview Farm utilizes technologies that are not only conservative to the environment, but are economically beneficial as well. They are catching the sun and the rain to utilize on the farm. This makes the dairy more efficient, providing all of their own electricity to run the equipment. Glamorview has completed Phase 2 of a 3-phase solar setup. Currently, 325 feet of solar panels run along the southwest side of the dairy barn. The heifer barn also has solar panels. The 3rd and final phase will consist of structures in the pasture called cow ports. These structures will provide shade for the cows, and solar panels will capture more of the sun for the operation. All of the rainwater is collected at the dairy barn and runs into a holding tank. There are 3 tanks underground. 1 tank collects rainwater and the water from the plate cooler. This water is specifically used for drinking water for the cows. The rainwater from the other holding tanks is used throughout the farm as well. The only well water needed at Glamorview is that to wash and sanitize the dairy equipment.
Our manure pit here holds 1.2 million gallons. Gravity flows from the end of the barn into the pit and holds enough that we only have to pump twice a year. It also has a ramp down into it that we can clean out the bottom so we don't lose valuable storage space at the bottom from solids that can't be pumped out.
Headquartered in Myerstown, Pennsylvania, Cedar Crest Equipment is a farm equipment dealership that has been servicing the Mid-Atlantic region for over 20 years. With 2 full-service locations in Myerstown and Quarryville, Pennsylvania, Cedar Crest currently offers a full line of manure and feed handling technologies, including the Pats and GEA Hool brands of manure and feed handling equipment, also the fan separators, Cadman irrigation reels, and airway tillage tools. In addition to many other agricultural products such as waterers, calf hutches, sprinkler systems, and much more. Cedar Crest is well known for offering quality farm equipment and providing exceptional 24-hour service. Contact Cedar Crest for your next project. Sales at cedarcrestequipment.com. At Glamourview, calves are top priority. When born, they're given colostrum and additional necessities to be as healthy as possible. Until they are 10 days to 2 weeks old, they're housed in a calf tail pen and fed 2 to 3 bottles per day. After this, they move on to the calf robot in group housing.
These are our calf tail hutches. This is where we bring the newborns to raise them about 10 days to 2 weeks. We love these calf tail hutches. They're easy to feed, easy to manage, easy to clean. We will clean them after every calf and bleach them down, and then they'll be ready for a new calf. We retrofitted this 3-sided pole barn with a curtain, and it's also climate controlled, so it gets really good air movement through here for the babies.
Every morning, the high somatic cell milk and any additional milk they may need is collected and pasteurized. Once pasteurized, the milk is then pumped over and runs through a cooling unit and is kept at 37 degrees. When a calf enters the robot, the computer reads its RFID tag. The system then puts 2.5 liters of milk into a jar for heating and is fed through. After their milk, 0.2 liters of warm water will run through the hose to rinse the line. If the calf continues to suck, there's a closing valve to prevent air from being ingested. The heifer barn houses calves from weaning to breeding age. The barn is fully headlocked and includes a scrape alley and curtains on both the front and back of the barn. Craig and Emily keep a simple but effective breeding program for both the cows and heifers. Heifers are observed for heat and bred at 15 months old, calving in at 2 years. The breeding criteria on the entire herd is focused on higher, tight bulls with good cow families behind them. For the heifers, the calving ease of a bull is also considered in sire selection. They utilize activity collars on the adult herd and also observe for heats. Cows will be bred once they are at least 60 days fresh, and herd checks are run every 2 weeks. Partners Gene Yeager, Craig Walton, and Emily Thornburg are nationally and internationally known for their success in breeding and showing elite cattle. They have earned numerous champions at national competitions. Some of the cows they are working with today, like Stormatic Ray, Adventure, and Puzzle, have become well known around the world.
This black cow is a junior 3-year-old Atwood, fresh about a month and a half. She was Supreme Junior Champion at the All-American Dairy Show in Harrisburg 2 years ago, as well as Junior Champion that year at World Dairy Expo. The cow next to her is a Stormatic that was Supreme Champion 2 years ago at Pennsylvania All-American and went out to Madison, Wisconsin and was second in the H-Cow class. The Ayrshire is a senior 3-year-old. Last year as a senior 2-year-old, she was grand champion at Maryland State Fair, Pennsylvania All-American Dairy Show, and second at World Dairy Expo. The Holstein next to her is a junior 3 Atlantic, and the cow next to her on the end is a senior 3-year-old Atlantic. The senior 3-year-old Atlantic is the first cow that Glamourview bred as a partnership. The red cow was a contender 4-year-old, fresh 2 weeks. She was reserve grand at the Pennsylvania All-American Dairy Show last year. The Holstein next to her is a junior 3-year-old Sid with 4 94-point dams. The black cow on the right is a senior 2-year-old Sid that we purchased as a calf that has calved out really nice, and the cow next to her is a 4-year-old Atwood. This is a H-Cow Ayatollah that won at Harrisburg, the Pennsylvania All-American as a senior 3-year-old. She was grand champion of the Jersey Show as well as Supreme Champion that year. She was also grand champion and Supreme Champion of the All-American Jersey Show in Louisville, Kentucky that year. This is a Connection 8-year-old cow that I have purchased as an embryo from a well-known Jersey farm in Canada, Avonlea Genetics. She's showed well for us through her career, but she also is the dam of a tequila that was junior champion at the All-American Jersey Show in Louisville, Kentucky about 4 years ago. And she also has a tequila son at CMEX. The kind of cow that I personally like is an extremely dairy cow with a terrific udder. They don't have to be a monster cow. And saying that, my two favorite cows that we currently have are Stormatic Ray and this Ayatollah Puzzle. Beautiful udder cows. They know why they're here, to give milk, but they look good doing it. I guess my only pet peeve about showing is it seems like judges want 2- and 3-year-olds to be so mature framed and body wise. By the time they're aged cows, they're not in the show ring anymore. I'd rather have a more youthful looking cow that gets better every year, because that's what a good cow does, gets better every year. That's my only pet peeve about showing when mature young cows win. As a person that milks cows every day, you would want a cow that can last and keep getting better and not peak out as a 2- and 3-year-old.
The future here at Glamour View, sitting right here, I think it
looks pretty good.
I think it looks really good. I want to hope that the area that our farm is sitting in,
we can do a lot to promote the dairy industry here. We have 2 major school districts within a mile of each side of us. So eventually would like to do a lot to let the public know about milk production and where their milk comes from.